my implants ruptured, and then
Whoa.
When you came down, you were like,
I think
something doesn't feel right here.
What's co-parenting with Charlie like?
There's no co-parenting.
You're making it work, but
there's my parenting and his parenting.
Yeah. Here's my question about OnlyFans. How's it going? I'm wondering if
I'm still on it.
Yeah.
I really think my kids thought I worked in a trailer. They would come and visit me in the hair and makeup trailer when they were little. They didn't know what I did, I don't think. I think you just get hair and makeup done for a living.
Denise Richards is a Hollywood icon. You know her from films like The World Is Not Enough and Drop Dead Gorgeous. She's also the epitome of a comeback star, but I know her from the show Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. Welcome, Denise. It's a pleasure, Denise, on a very personal level. I'm excited to have you on Second Wind for a lot of reasons, which we'll get into, but it's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh,
I feel so very connected to you, and we're going to get into all things Special Forces and what you have going on right now. But I first just want to ask you how you're doing. The past month has been very traumatic for anybody who's living in the LA area. So I just want to ask you how you're doing, how the kids are doing, and the husband and the dogs and all that.
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah. Everyone's great. And I know that we were going to meet during that time too. I've been through fires in Los Angeles more than once here, but I'll say this experience was the worst I've ever seen. And it's just devastating for everyone, but our family's good, the kids, the dogs, husband, everyone's great. And I'm just so happy to be here with you guys.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You know, we bonded on the show Special Forces. People have always asked, well, who on the show did I feel most connected to? And when I share that it was Denise Richards and Cam Newton, they're like, wait what? I'm also very protective when I see and am around good people. And of course, we'd never met before, but you have such a wonderful spirit and energy about you. And I'm not just tapping you or but no, for real, I've just felt like I wanted to continue the experience with you. You had mentioned in the past, Denise, traumatic experiences that have happened to you. And I want to know, one, why you decided to join us on Special Forces and decide
I have
to
no
do
idea.
It.
I know this might be hard to believe, but I'm not obviously athletic. It's pretty much Pilates.
Yes.
I had said no to the show a few times. My husband really wanted me to do it, I think because he wanted to live vicariously through me, because he would go in a second.
Okay.
But I think I decided to do it because I thought, you know what, why not? This is something that is completely out of my comfort zone. Yeah. Never done anything like this before. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah. And I'll never have an opportunity like this. So that's why I did it. But also going back to you saying how you felt when you met me, I felt the same way. And I think I told you, I felt such a kinship to you as soon as I met you. There was just such a connection, and you were so protective and helpful and so kind and genuine. And so I'm glad that we've continued a friendship after the show.
As the individual who knows you through the press, right? As just a common person who's seen your shows, I get the Denise Richards that is filtered through the internet. And so I'm getting texts from Marion, and she's like, you're not going to believe this woman. And I'm like, who is this woman? And she's like, it's Denise Richards. She's like, she's so fucking smart. She's one of the smartest women I've ever met. And she's so kind.
That's so nice.
And she's so caring. And I paused, and I told her, I said, the first thing I want to ask her is, do we know the real Denise Richards? Yeah.
I think sides of me, you know, I think that, you know, you're a certain way in interviews, you're a certain way when you're around different people. Sometimes you have to read the room too, you know? I do think that there's been a lot of different things, obviously, that people have read about me and my family. And I don't defend stuff. It's just because I always think if you do, then it creates another story and another story. So I'm just like, whatever, it'll blow over or something. I don't know. At this point, after all the stuff I've been through in the press, especially with my ex-husband and everything, I think that people have seen different sides.
And they choose the side they want to see too, right?
But then I think when you're in like a girlfriend situation or a group of friends or whatever, my friends know.
This is the Second Wind podcast. Obviously, we talk about reinvention. When we were discussing guests that we wanted to have on the show and discussing people who have mastered second winds, holy hell, you're like a second wind mastery queen of all reinvention.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Right. And like, has it been strategic? Has it been accidental? Has it been out of necessity?
I think a combination. I think when I did my very first reality show years ago with Ryan Seacrest, when I was going through my divorce with Charlie, it really devastated me financially. And also, he was on such a hit show, and the public and people in the industry thought I was trying to take down this actor and his show. And so it really hurt my career. I had a real hard time getting a job, and I was devastated because I thought, how can my personal life affect my job? Like, I'm just trying to protect my kids, and I'm going through a divorce, and I don't like to do the mudslinging and having all that crap out there. So doing that reality show, my mom was the one that pushed me. She's like, you need to do it and have people see you. She passed away before it came out, but I'm so glad that I did, and it changed. And I didn't know if it would. I just thought, okay, I'm gonna do this and see, and I gratefully knowing that it did help, where people got to see, okay, you're not the crazy bitch trying to destroy the father of your children. You're just trying to keep your family together. And then, so from there, then I just had different things come up, and, you know, you make different choices when you're presented opportunities. And I don't think I thought of years like of a path. I just take the opportunities that are there and see if I'm going to do them or not, you know? You
mentioned the kids. What was one, before you got on Special Forces, did they have a prediction of how long you would last? And two, what was their reaction once if they've seen the show?
They did not want me to do it.
Okay.
Actually,
were they scared? Or
very scared. Yeah. And we actually got into an argument about it. And I told them, look, you might not agree with me or be mad at me, whatever, but at least support my decision. I'm doing something that I want to do. I want to challenge myself. And they're like, well, can't you challenge yourself in another way? We're afraid you're not going to come home. Like, I'm like, it can't be that bad. Like, they have to keep us safe. It was actually much harder than I thought. Yep. And then also because they weren't able to text me or anything, so to not get a hold of me. They were hoping I would just be there one day. Yeah. And I said, please don't say that. I really want to do longer than that. I really thought coming into it, I would have lasted more than 2 days. Yeah. But it was a lot harder. And when you have an injury or something, like, it's hard to get past that and stay on a show like that. There's no like downtime where you can sit down.
Well, I saw an outtake where I think you were talking to one of the producers, and you were saying, like, I want to stay, but I'm injured. Like, I'm in physical pain.
They wouldn't let me see a doctor. I asked him, it was after we had to link hands or whatever and do whatever.
On the beach.
And the beach. And I said, I knew I couldn't hold up that log. Yeah. And I said, I just want to see a doctor, because I wanted, if a doctor said, you're okay, you're not going to, you know, I would have stayed, but he wouldn't. He said, if you go, they're gonna make you go home. So I felt like I had no choice. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to go home completely broken if things weren't great.
If you had to leave at any point in the show, you would not have wanted to do the hand-to-hand combat.
Oh,
you would have.
Way.
Would you have VW?
No.
You don't think it would have been amazing?
Would you have VW when you saw the head?
Absolutely. Yeah. No way.
And why?
Because I would not want to get my face broken. I wouldn't have had a job. I would have been like, all right, well.
Well, have you told anyone publicly the decisions you made about why you were?
I don't think so. You know, when I saw the headgear, Denise, I immediately thought about my face, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to protect it. Right? Like, I like it.
Right.
and so when they put Kayla and I against each other, this is what I did. And, you know, she has a little background in she's, you know, a fitness enthusiast. Right. She's done kickboxing. I know that must have been like golden when she saw my ribs, just like my stomach exposed. All right, so it was a smart move. You go for the ribs, but were your kids proud though after they saw it?
They didn't see it.
Oh, no?
I haven't seen it. Oh. I haven't watched it.
What's the reason?
Yeah.
A couple reasons. I think one, I don't like to watch myself. First of all,
so you see, I don't either.
Her hard time.
I don't either. Like on podcasts or whatever.
I don't.
I'm so critical.
Me too.
Okay.
I like to.
What are you critical of?
Back in the day when you first heard your voice on an answering machine, and you're like, I don't sound like that, do I? So I think it's a combination of things. But I like to enjoy the experience, and you don't know how you're going to be edited sometimes, and so. And then also because I opened up sharing some personal stuff, when I left, I was like, oh gosh, why did I say that? So I didn't kind of want to know what they were airing. But yeah, it's a combination of things.
Okay.
And it's not just special forces, it's other jobs that I've done. But my kids said that it would be too hard for them they saw the preview, the trailers, obviously, but they didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch you jump off the bridge.
I'm surprised I didn't break my neck.
You could see, feel, and maybe it was in the editing too. Like, I don't know if they added sound effects, but it sounded horrible.
It didn't feel too great.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we walked up there, we were sitting there chatting beforehand? You were like, I don't think I can do this.
I'm terrified of heights.
Yeah.
I'm too. Yeah.
Terrified. I am proud of myself that I did the jump. But then when I look back and think, everything that could have gone wrong with all of us.
Yeah.
It wasn't the safest thing because it wasn't quite a bungee cord. You didn't bounce.
It looked like it. Yeah, it
was just a rope that stopped you.
And they also
Is that where you got injured?
Yes.
In that jump? Mm-hmm. So what happened? What did you injure?
My implants ruptured and then
Whoa.
They ruptured and then also I had 4 hernias repaired, 2 inguinal and 2 femoral, which are in your groin, and I had a lot of swelling. And the doctor did think that I re-injured a hernia. It turned out I didn't. Where your bone goes into your hip or whatever, was swollen for about 3 months. So I was more worried about the hernias.
So wait, you ruptured your
implants
in the moment. And did you know it happened in the moment?
I felt something.
Yeah, you mentioned it when you came down. You were like,
I think
something doesn't feel right here.
When we were doing the water thing, going back, I'm like, oh my gosh, if my implant goes to my back during this, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was too embarrassed to tell the guys, the DS, that, when he was asking me, like, what's wrong? I didn't want to say, well, I think I popped my tits. And then, and my groin's swollen. But other than that, I think I'm good.
Have you gotten everything fixed?
I get these fixed in May.
Okay.
But this is all healed. Everything else is.
The groin is fine.
The groin's fine.
Tits are to be determined.
I'm fully healed. Yeah. It took 8 weeks or something.
But still.
And if you've never had any rib issues before, you realize that everything you do, it affects. You cough, you laugh, you turn over, you stand up. And so it was a very odd feeling.
People say that is one of the most painful injuries, actually, are your ribs.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, you're going from special forces, which could not be more different than, so I think after 15 years, you're doing another reality show? Has it been 15 years?
Something like that. It's been a while. I did do Housewives. And then, we're doing a family reality show.
So why now?
Alex Baskin, who I met through Housewives, he approached me about doing a family reality show. And we had conversations with my older daughters and obviously I wanted to make sure that they were wanting to do it and were excited because it's a big decision too, because they've also lived in the shadows of their parents, even though they are used to paparazzi and stuff like that. It's a little different when it's you out there too. We just thought it would be, a fun ride and there's a lot of things that are great with reality. I think it's a wonderful platform. It's wonderful to be able to show yourself and, create other businesses and, be able to do different things. And I love I feel so lucky that I get to still act and still do this kind of stuff. It's fun.
How are the girls enjoying it?
They have no filter. And so And I think people will enjoy that, but at the same time, there were moments where I was just like, you know, you might want to not say that. And you know, I'll never forget which daughter it was I said, you might want to just kind of think before you say something. And she's like, Mom, I'm just myself. And I said, I get it, but I just don't want you to say something and then beg me to get it taken out.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to be careful.
What about
he was actually so great. He was so supportive.
Even after Desperate Housewives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be called that. Yeah. He calls them the screaming ladies. It's so funny. The fighting ladies or something. I don't know. The first time before I did the show, he walked in with me watching it. He goes, "What are you watching?" All they do is fight at that dinner table. I go, "It's called The Housewives of Beverly Hills."
Well, I was going to ask about your daughters. Like, I feel like you are parenting polar opposites.
I am.
Right? Like,
yes.
Absolutely. And I'm in love with both of them. Gotten to see this, right? Because they are so
They're so different.
I mean, I was sharing with one of our producers, I said, it's like I know they're being themselves, but you could not have scripted two more beautiful, different life experiences. Yeah. How are you managing parenting that?
Well, that's the thing about the show is people will see, you know, whether you're in the public eye or not, it is difficult parenting especially teenagers and kids coming of age where you have to let them go and be them, you know, you can't just tell them what to do anymore all the time. And I think that that's something that people will be able to see too, because it is challenging and you have to parent sometimes in different ways. And sometimes they get mad at me saying I'm favoring one over the other, but I have to try to explain to them, you girls are so different. Yeah. I have to parent sometimes a little different too, but it is definitely not easy in navigating all of it. And it's just funny thinking them and the stuff that they get mad at each other about. They're such sisters where they fight about everything, every little thing.
What's off limits on the show?
We didn't set anything on the show with each other. But I think that we're pretty much an open book, a little too open, I think, sometimes, right? I don't know. Hopefully we'll get a second season. And if we do, maybe we'll be like, well, but we pretty much are out there.
Yeah. And sweet Eloise?
Yes, thank you.
What does she think about the cameras?
She loves the cameras. Like when she would film, she would like smile and wave to the camera guys and stuff. No. She loves it. She loved watching herself on the trailer. She loved getting some glam and all of that. So she was actually, of all the sisters, the easiest one to work with.
I love it. And what about you're talking about you're letting them follow you with everything, right? And I don't want to give anything away for the audience because you have to watch. I was laughing hysterically. I was on the treadmill and literally.
Oh, I'm glad you were laughing.
I was laughing hysterically. And do you not have anyone in your life that sat you down and said, "This many dogs all at once"? Did you not?
Well, that was an accident. Okay, here's what happened. So, well, first of all, I did a lot of animal rescue over the years. Okay. But so Sammy got her dog, and the day she got him, a few days prior, she dropped off all the supplies for him because she said, "I'm getting a puppy, but can you watch him because I'm going to Coachella?" And I said, "Okay." And so I told Aaron, I'm like, "We're watching Sammy's puppy." And he goes, "Okay." And so literally drops the puppy off and then she leaves. So we have this puppy and for quite a while. And Aaron fell in love with the puppy and he was like, they have apparently a sister. Oh. And it was Sammy's friend's parents who they had this litter. They weren't breeders. They had a litter. Yeah. And so they have a sister. And so Aaron's like, but we can't separate them. So they could grow up together. And so I called him when they brought the sister and I said, well, there's a brother with them. She goes, well, we can't separate the sister and the brother. I go, that's what I thought. And so we got, well,
I will separate those dogs.
We were thinking, though, that the original brother was going back to Sammy. And then they called and said there was a sister that was returned, and she's really sweet. The little boy was allergic. So Aaron goes, well, I mean, at this point, so we thought we'd have 3. We don't. And so we have Sammy's dog, but they're growing up together. We took them to training camp. That didn't go so well, but they're lovely. I do love dogs.
The fact that you called it training camp as if it's a football team.
I know, right? Are you a dog person?
I have a dog.
A dog, okay.
One.
What if that was going to be a service dog?
Well, one, it's still too young to be trained for a service dog because we were also trying to find a service dog for Eloise, which has been really challenging because of she's not autistic, but she's primarily nonverbal, but she's not hard of hearing. So it's been so challenging finding the right service dog for her. So that's why we were going to have one of them be trained, if they'll pass, we'll see, be trained for that. And if not, we'll have to look at other options. But that was the plan.
It's never the plan, right? It's never the plan. So I know this is not your first reality show, obviously, but what surprised you about this one?
Sometimes it was easier fighting with the women on Housewives than dealing with the dynamic of my family. It's challenging
because you got to go home, right? Now
it's I'm also trying to help them. You know, you have to show up.
Yeah.
Even if you're tired.
Yeah.
Even if you have a belly
huge lesson.
We show up. So that was a big thing.
Yeah. Have you rewatched It's Complicated?
I haven't. No. They I think the girls did see a couple episodes not that long ago, and they were like, Mom, we were so young.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful though that we have those, moments that I'll have forever of the girls.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, when you think back, I know you haven't rewatched it, but when you think back to that, do you recognize that, Denise? Is the Denise here today just an evolved version of that?
Yeah, I would say an evolved version for sure. And this time, what's different too is seeing the dynamic of the girls being older, but also back then I was going through a terrible divorce and now I'm married. So it's not, and I have another child. Yeah. So it's nice to see our family evolve to what we are and, very blended.
How does Sammy and Lola think of that era, that tabloid era?
I think it's all they really know because they grew up with it. And so, but I think what's different now is, what I worry for them though, doing this is it's hard enough when they started social media and I tried to get them not to. But to, be strong enough and have enough thick skin to ignore some of what the negativity and that sort of thing. But I do worry about them being so out there too. I worry for their safety.
Yeah.
I think any parent, it's just a different time now, especially, but I'll always worry, I think.
Yeah, right. You don't stop worrying. I think it was Lola that mentioned that she felt like her dad understands her. Right?
Yes.
She said, like my dad. So what is that what's co-parenting with Charlie like?
It's different because the girls were with me their whole childhood, and now that they're getting older, they're having more of a different relationship with him. I think, they think I'm too overprotective. And much stricter. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I am. I'm very protective. I make, I have their location. I know if I see them somewhere else, I ask, why are you over in that area? It's not a good area. They have such a great head on their shoulders and really much more savvy than I was when I was their age. But at the same time, I think sometimes they can be naive and think that nothing's going to happen to them either,
Yeah, I mean, I've been in that situation with a split household, and I've found that a lot of times I had to be the hard parent.
Yes, I'm the hard parent.
Yeah. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're the hard parent, and then one of your daughters is on OnlyFans. I was thinking,
when they turn 18, you can only do so much.
So what was the initial thought, reaction?
For me?
Yeah.
I really didn't know what OnlyFans was when she joined it. And then I saw an article that was sent to me where she just got so much backlash from it. And it really pissed me off because I thought that's really not cool, like to judge her for whatever. And she was doing bathing suits, and I learned what it was. And then I joined it because I made a joke. I did this post. I'm like, well, you know, maybe I'll do it because I was so upset for her that people were judging, and because I've done sexy roles and stuff and had, you know, I've done Playboy and I've done different things. So that's why I was just.
So you said you don't watch your stuff, right?
don't.
You don't go back and watch it. Sounds like you probably kind of avoid reading things as well. So
I do avoid reading stuff.
Did she see the comments, and what was her reaction?
Did she see comments about her?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was her?
You know, she actually handled it much better than I would have.
Yeah.
At her age.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised and I'm proud of her that she's a strong girl, and she really handles it really well. She handles it much better than I would have.
What about comments about you? Did she read the comments about your posts?
She says, she wishes I didn't because she said she felt that they were going to my side. But
So now you're competing.
If she reads comments about me, she doesn't say anything.
Is she protective?
They know.
Is she protective?
She's very
of you?
protective. Yeah. Yeah, the girls are very protective of me, but also going back, like with Charlie, it's such a different dynamic where I wish that we're good, but I wish we had a closer relationship where I could go to him and talk to him and say, hey, there's, you know, this or something I want to talk. It's just, we don't have that relationship. I wish we did. I think it would be easier to help guide the girls better, instead of me say one thing and him say something else.
Like a true co-parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no co-parenting.
You're making it work, but there's
my parenting and his
parenting.
there
There's
really
dual
is no
parallel parenting.
I know. I don't even know what to call
Like
it.
parallel
There's
parenting.
no co.
Yeah.
There's his way and my way, and I guess the highway.
So when you look at the girls and obviously as you raise them, but also now you're seeing them on the show, what do you look at and are so proud that you have given them, and what do you wish you'd given them that you haven't?
I am so proud at how strong they are. They even from early on, they would stand up for, you know, I'll never forget. And this was at a Catholic school where they were standing up. Sammy was in 2nd or 3rd grade, standing up for gay rights, and she didn't care what anyone would say to her. And she just gay marriage, everything. So from very early age, the girls have always been themselves. Yeah. And then that's something I've always tried to tell them, to be your true authentic self and not allow judgment change how you want to live your life. And I think what I wish, oh gosh, I mean, I could go through a million mistakes I've made over the years, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This show is called Second Wind, Denise. And one of the many reasons why we asked you on here, what was the catalyst? Like, it's like there's an emergence for you. What was that? Was there a set moment where you said, you know what, like, I'm going back after it, or was it just a continuous
I think when I was going through a very, very dark time with my divorce from Charlie, I swear I feel like I was on the tabloids almost every single week for about 2 years. And there was just so many articles that weren't truthful. Some stuff is true, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't. And I think I could have gone to a really dark place. And also I was such a people pleaser that it was a blessing that this happened, because I would always be cautious, like in interviews, trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, and that sort of thing. And so I was like, I am just going to be myself. I had to kind of put a bubble around me during that time and say, I don't want to hear what people are saying. I can't read anything. I have to focus on my family, and that's what's important, and be who I am. And so I think that's what really changed me as a woman, of living my life the way I want to and not worry about what people are going to say about me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's what my family, who I really, and my close friends
circle,
that I care about. Yeah.
Well, both of you went through very public experiences in your life, right? And lots of blame placed on both of you, a lot of opinions placed on both of you. Mental health wise, I look at so many athletes, celebrities who have these very explosive public moments. And I think, like, the Denise that sits here today, like, how did you shape your mental health, protect your mental health?
I was very good, and I don't know if this is healthy, but I was good at compartmentalizing, because I would have to, and like you have to get up and go to work. So I would have to block shit out and go on a film set. I would have to leave everything at the door and after work. I had a really good, strong support system with my mom and dad, and also focusing on my kids. They were so little, but then going even through, it didn't end after my divorce. Things actually got worse later with my ex, but thinking, what would I want for them? Or if this isn't, why would I tolerate this? Yeah. So, or if I didn't want them to tolerate it, why would I? And that's a lot of even leaving their dad. That was a big decision too. And that's what helped me, was I wouldn't want this for them. So why would I be in this situation? Yeah. I always felt like I had a good support system, and I got a lot of it also with my little girls.
You continue just to reinvent yourself. What does the perfect life look like for you in 10 years?
Oh, I want a farm.
Okay.
With
all those dogs.
And I want cows and little goats, everything.
Are you out of the spotlight then?
No, I would still. Okay. Well, I hope to work still. Yeah, to pay for that farm. Farms are not cheap. No,
Denise, I love things will have a different meaning, right? It'll be that'll be part 2, right? Denise on a farm.
I don't think I'll ever not want to work. I love working. I love the camaraderie and being around everyone. I love it.
What's your greatest work?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I always go by experiences. I think one of my most fond experiences doing Starship Troopers, because we were all just at the same level pretty much in our career, and it was a 6-month shoot. We were excited this would be a movie that is in a theater and people will see it. And it was just such a nostalgic time for me and for us, and a lot of us are still close. So I always remember what's off camera. That's like even with our show too. I remember those moments that aren't on the show.
That didn't make the cut.
Yeah. And those are the memories that I always take away from work.
Do you have some work you wish you could have forgot you did?
Yes, but we won't mention it, because why would I remind everyone? I think for a lot of people have that, but if someone doesn't, then that's great. God bless them.
You have to do those to get to the stuff that's the good stuff. Absolutely. So going back to the question I asked you about mental health, do you think, you said compartmentalize, right? Whether that's healthy or not. Do you think that helped you on Special Forces? I mean, did you do some of that on Special Forces?
Well, I had to. I literally had to think, I really had to pretend like you're shooting a movie and they're telling you to go jump off that boat and grab that helicopter. Why there isn't like a safety team around me and really explaining everything. I'm just going to ignore that. And I'm just going to do it. And when they say go, to me it's action. And I'm going...
Yeah, that's fascinating that you turned it into a movie. I
had to. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah. Would you do it again?
Absolutely not.
I mean, everyone that I've spoken to, or Marion's connected.
Everyone says they would do it, and I'm like, would you?
No,
really
not everyone does.
Yeah. I mean, it's the idea of putting ourselves through that again. But those of us that are really, really competitive, and especially if you fell short in whatever capacity, you want another chance at it. Are you competitive?
I am with myself, not with, I'm not trying to beat anyone else. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I wasn't.
I don't know.
No, she really doesn't. Like if you're going to the car, she wants to be the first to get there. Yeah. You challenge yourself.
I like to challenge myself, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I try to run to get to that car, I'll break my neck in these heels. So go ahead, go for
TV.
it.
So
It'll be good TV.
You say I'm not competitive with other people. Do you think your daughter thought you were competing with her when you joined OnlyFans?
No, I don't think she thought that. I just think she understood, and she knows that I was trying to protect her. But I think it was more. I understand why she felt the way she did.
Oh, here's my question about OnlyFans. How's it going? Like, what are you
It's
buying? What do you
good.
make? Like, how's it going?
It's going
I'm wondering if
I'm
there's...
still on it.
Yeah. You haven't left, so
I
it's
haven't
working.
left.
Where do you see your girls being in 10 years? Where do you want them to be?
I just hope that they're, really healthy and really happy with whatever they're doing, and I think that they're trying to figure out too, what do they want to do?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. I mean, they're so young and they get to explore so many different things.
I think, I'm sorry, but I think my favorite character is Lola.
Oh, thank you.
Like she's
a fairy. I always say she's just this little butterfly fairy, like.
As the president of the Lola fan club, right?
I'll tell
I'm
her.
going to get the website up.
Thank you.
So why the religious journey? Where did she?
Well, the girls were raised Catholic.
Okay.
But that was my choice of doing that. And they were baptized when they were babies. But for her, I'd have to let her share the reason why.
Sure.
But I love it. I am so supportive. We all are. And I think it's great that, she has such a deep relationship with God and that she's so open about it. And it, sometimes people don't want to talk about the religion.
I was going to ask, is
stuff.
she getting a hard time from some people around that or about that?
I don't know. And if she is, she will not pay attention to it. She thinks that, this is how she wants to live her life. And these are her beliefs. And I love that. And she's just got such a great spirit about herself.
I want to say this in the most respectful way. It's hard to go, wow, her mother, her father,
Her sister.
right? And is she compartmentalizing maybe?
What's funny though is when the girls were growing up, I did everything I could, and sometimes to a fault where now they will get mad at me for it, where I protected them from all that garbage.
Yeah.
Like I really tried so hard. When they were younger, I picked and chose jobs so that I could be home with them. I was home all the time. And if I had to go away, my dad also moved in with us for 5 years when they were younger after my mom passed. And so he was such a great father figure for the girls. On the outside, they just even say that, they say this on the show too, where I'm just mom. So at home, I'm baking cookies, I'm cooking dinner, having all their friends over for sleepovers, and they went to church, they were in a Catholic school and stuff like that. And so they're discovering this part as they've gotten older because they never, first of all, they've never even seen my movies. Lola thought Wild Things was my James Bond movie, the name of it. So it's, they don't watch my movies. Yeah. They don't know, they look at me as mom. Yeah. So it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with my kids. I have 3, and there's a funny story. My family is from Belize. And after the 2000 Olympics, Denise, the country named a stadium after me. And I've had a number of friends that have traveled to Belize, and on the tour of the country, they passed the Marion Jones Sports Complex. And somebody was talking with,
I was talking to Eva Marie.
And my daughter's name's Eva Marie, and do you want to?
I said, oh, like the complex named after Marion and Belize. And she goes, what? And I said, well, there's a Coliseum. And she goes, why?
They really just see me as moms. They haven't seen Special Forces. My middle son was most excited that I spoke with Cam Newton. They're more excited about whom I'm talking to than what I'm doing.
Great. What do your girls get excited? Like, who in your world, or what do you do?
They would never, that's the thing. I really think my kids thought I worked in a trailer because they would come and visit me in the hair and makeup trailer when they were little. They didn't see me on set. They didn't know what I did, I don't think. You know, they just saw me get hair. I think you just get hair and makeup done for a living.
It's not a bad life.
So they did, I know, right? They would ask me, why are they asking for your autograph? I'm like, I don't know. Why are they taking your photo? I go, I'm not really sure.
Okay, I'm a little worried about your living situation.
Let's not go there. It's an in-law story.
I was like, we've got 3.
No, it's a long story. This will cause fights with my husband.
Okay.
It's the in-laws.
Okay.
It's called peace of mind.
Well, sometimes you make choices for peace. What choices do you make for peace besides your living situation?
Well, it depends on,
For your mental health, for just getting away from everything. What do you do to take care of Denise?
I'm a big advocate of, I love being with my husband so much, and I'm a big advocate of us doing a staycation once a month where we will go to a hotel and have that couple time where we don't have distractions. I think that's one of the biggest thing. I've learned to, keep my cell phone off a lot of times. And sometimes people aren't happy when they don't text back right away. You're not the only one. But I think is trying to also have shut down too. Like when we're eating dinner, otherwise you get just distracted all the time. Yeah. So I've been really, really trying and working hard at having that time, like even if I'm at lunch with a girlfriend or whatever, like just having and being super present. That's helped me a lot. And that's, I think the mental for me is that trying to.
And must be a challenge to be present while your life is being filmed sometimes, right? And
yeah, I mean, we weren't filming 24 hours a day, but so, I'm able to separate work from home as much as I can. Yeah. But I try to keep that quality time and even if I'm by myself, just to, if I want to shut my phone off for 3 hours and just sit at home or cook or whatever, I'll do that just to keep the noise out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. What do you hope that viewers get from the show? Right? I mean, it sounds like it's cool that you've gotten to do this with the girls and with your family, but what do you hope they get? I hope that people see that I'm trying, I'm parenting kids that are teenagers coming of age, a younger daughter she's special needs, and also see that, it doesn't matter what sometimes we do for a living, there's still a lot of the same challenges sometimes with kids, the dynamic between siblings and having to navigate that, and also struggling with the mom guilt, trying to, work while you're parenting. And I think there's a lot of heart in our show, and also it can be funny. And just, we just did a fun show. It does feel like you parent with a lot of humor.
I do. Yeah, no, I do, because it's, the girls have a good sense of humor too, thank God. Yeah. I do.
Yeah, it's
and it won't be for everyone, but when they were younger, I was much more, a little bit held back with that when they were younger, just because I wanted to be more of the adult. But as the girls are getting older, we can have I have more of a sense of humor. My mom was like that too. You
went from the divorce into losing your mom.
Well, during my divorce, mom,
And it sounds like she was a real...
Oh gosh, she was my best friend. She was, and she was so young. She was 54 when she died. Oh. And she had cancer. She was so young. It was really, really hard. She was the rock of our family. My parents were still married. Yeah. They were very married. They really liked each other and loved each other. So it was definitely hard on my whole family.
We've been talking a lot about moms, right? And just the core, which I think is what the show's about too.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there's
Definitely.
a nucleus there that is everyone can relate to. No matter what your relationship with your mother is, you have one.
Right.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to the Wild Things on Bravo, what other projects are in the works for you?
I've been doing a lot of Comic-Cons lately.
Okay.
And it's been so fun. I've never had done them before until this past year. And I really love it. It's so fun to meet fans that are, it's so humbling and wonderful to talk to them in person. And they take the time to go there and they'll make their own photos and pictures. They'll find stuff from my movies that I don't even see, and it's just been, I love that interaction and connecting. And then also I've got a couple other movies that we're getting pushed because of the strike. So now they're all coming back. We'll see. So but I like to stay busy.
So one of the things, the name of the podcast is Second Wind. And we're talking about comebacks and second wins. So if we ask you, like, what's one of your favorite comeback stories in history, in the world? Like, what's a great comeback story?
I think has made, and just this because it's so recent, a great comeback is Pamela Anderson.
That's such a great, I
did a movie with her years ago, and she is so kind and genuine and sweet, and also one that a lot of people have had a different perception over the years at times. And she was so unlike that in person, and I'm so happy for her. It's so wonderful to see where all this, the accolades and everything that she's getting right now for her this movie she did. It's incredible. So I'm really happy for her.
And she has a farm, I believe, doesn't she?
In
Maybe
Canada.
You could visit her farm and get your inspiration.
Yeah, my husband's Canadian. So.
There you go.
It's a little cold in Canada for me.
I agree. No, that's a great, and she is having a phenomenal season of life.
She is, and she deserves it.
Absolutely.
Well, Denise, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're excited to watch Denise Richards and the Wild Things. Of course, tune in on Bravo.
It's incredible.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
So Denise is everything you said she was. I mean, she is kind and thoughtful and smart and
beautiful.
Yeah,
she knows how
funny.
to work a room.
Yeah, it's well, I love when she said, sometimes it's about reading a room, right? Which was great. But here's what I've found the most fascinating. I think what was unsaid, right, can even be more interesting, right? Is that obviously she was a celebrity, she had done film, but what she became the most known for was this very public divorce. She was on the cover of tabloids for 2 straight years. I don't know if you know anything about public failure. Just, I don't know, maybe a thing or two. But we love a fall. Yeah. Right? We love a fall. We love to watch a fall, and people say what we really love is a comeback. And I think we do, but you don't really get a comeback without a huge setback.
And she's just a glaring example of, in a way, her fall was, not of her own devices, right?
Sure.
Like she was, but the idea that she has a family to feed, right? She has a life to live. And I think a lot of times you see the celebrities and you see the athletes and you forget that they also are human.
Yeah.
And how that all plays out. But man, she sure is, in terms of, she could have easily said that her greatest comeback story was, her own.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really interesting is that you see her and she's Denise Richards and she is, got a new reality show coming out and just finished one reality show.
And some movies or something that she's filmed.
Right.
But that
and then you realize, and she's every woman on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Right? Trying to navigate kids and trying to navigate at times public humiliation.
I personally feel it's one of the reasons, like, she's very relatable. in a way, right? Like, no, you can't, you don't understand her glamorous life and all that. But how she comes across on camera in the reality show, like she's like a little bit like all of us.
And
right?
it's literally what we wanted for this show was a lineup of guests that you may know by name. You may have read their articles, you may have seen their movies, you may watch their shows and recognize that failure is not forever. And that if you can find a way to take your failures, your hiccups, your messes, and you can turn them into a message, you can turn them into an opportunity, you can turn it into a better life, a better relationship.
Yeah. And like we always say, I mean, your setbacks in life can be the catalyst for your biggest comeback in life as well.
If she hadn't been on the cover of every tabloid for 2 years, would she be doing some of the things she's doing now? Because
well, she certainly wouldn't be on Second Wind.
Right? I'm sorry, Denise. We needed you to have a hiccup so that we could have you as a podcast guest. And there you go. We are looking forward to a season of people who have really fucked up so that we can have them on the show.